Even like I will say things now and I will be open and honest, but I also am also attacked because I am protecting them, or I'm, you know what I mean? Or I'm like, here's the thing. I don't personally think that just because I get a divorce means I hate a person, or I need to go tell all the tea, or I need to say what really happened. I don't believe that.
Meri Brown has been active on her TikTok lately, going live with different creators who talk about sister wives, and several of these live streams have been reposted on YouTube. In one recent live, she spoke with a creator and answered direct questions about the show, about her life after leaving polygamy, about what's ahead for her, and how things stand with her former family. During that interview, Meri tackled something fans often bring up, the claim that she still defends Kody and Robyn. She was clear. She doesn't want a divorce filled with hate or bitterness. She said she wants things to end peacefully. No messy drama, no tearing people down just because she can. She explained that there are parts of her life she keeps private, and just because she doesn't share them publicly doesn't mean she's unaware of what's really happening. Specifically, in this conversation, she addressed criticism from viewers who think she didn't see what was going on within the family, especially considering what aired on the show. But Meri, consistent with how she's always spoken, said this: just because she didn't speak on something doesn't mean she didn't notice it. And even if she wasn't aware in the moment, she later watched the show and realized things just like the rest of us. She wasn't blind to the dynamics between Kody and Robyn or what was unraveling in the family. Still, even with everything she saw and lived through, she didn't go scorched earth. In her own way, she gave them a little grace. And that's where it got interesting.
Okay, we'll wait until that passes because I've had that moment. 2015, right. I had that moment.
You figure it out. You don't just walk away when things get tough. That's the kind of mindset Meri seems to live by. In her view, Kody was going through something deeper, a midlife crisis maybe. It's been hinted at on the show more than once. He reached a certain age, looked around, and suddenly decided he wanted something different, a fresh start, a younger partner, a new image. Maybe in his mind, he was heading for Hollywood or some dramatic reinvention of himself. So he left behind the family and placed all his energy into Robyn. Now, Meri has said before that we, as viewers, tend to fill in the blanks. But that's natural, isn't it? When you watch someone's story unfold, you try to make sense of it. And knowing the background they came from, where women are taught to stay loyal, where spiritual bonds are sealed for time and all eternity, you'd assume someone like Meri, who deeply believed in that system, would hold on to her commitment. She did. She believed in it. She lived it. But not everyone takes those promises the same way. Kody, it seems, saw the vows more as conditional. He appeared to think he got to decide if the spiritual sealing was still valid, depending on Meri's behavior. Meri once explained her catfishing scandal as her own version of a midlife crisis, and maybe it was. She was in her 40s, newly alone in an empty nest, searching for meaning or connection. She had every reason to walk away back then, but she didn't. And why she stayed, we may never really know. But what resonates most in her story is this. When you're in a relationship, people on the outside can usually see the truth before you can, but until you see it or you're ready to accept it, no one else can force you to walk away. In that sense, it's easy to understand where she was coming from. She made a commitment. She believed it would work. She thought they would make it through. But that's not how it ended. At one point, Meri even seemed a little unsettled by how Christine talked to David, her new partner, about her past with Kody. Christine's been vocal, trying to process what her old relationship really was, especially now that she's experiencing a monogamous one for the first time. She's been saying things like, "So if this is what a healthy relationship feels like, what was that?" Or, "I can't believe I thought that was normal." Christine thinks aloud. She's someone who works through her feelings by talking them out. But Meri seemed uncomfortable with that. To her, it felt like Christine was comparing people. But from the outside, It didn't sound like comparison. It sounded like Christine trying to make sense of two completely different realities. Because for the first time, she was experiencing something most of us take for granted, a one-on-one, emotionally safe, monogamous partnership. That contrast was new to her. But this was Meri's interpretation, and it gave a glimpse into how differently each of them processes the past.
I'm not going to go into that wanting to talk trash about Kody.
I remember this one conversation with a woman who had been in a plural marriage. She said something that stuck with me. If I hadn't been married to the same man as my sister wife, we probably would have been best friends. But once they were bound to the same husband, everything shifted. Jealousy crept in, insecurity surfaced, favoritism became hard to ignore. And suddenly, it wasn't about sisterhood anymore. It was a quiet, constant battle for one man's attention. That bond they might have shared got tangled in rivalry. Sometimes I wonder if Meri and Christine had never married Kody, if their lives had crossed paths in a different way. Maybe they really would have been close. Because to me, Christine reminds me a lot of Jen, Meri's close friend. And as much as Meri insists she doesn't compare Kody to anyone else, the truth is we all talk things through with someone. In the most recent season, Meri had plenty of moments where she opened up to her friends about Kody. Did she name names or hold him next to someone else and draw comparisons? No, but she spoke. She talked to Jen. She talked to those two women who had once been in the same religious circle and got out. She spoke to a friend from Vegas. We saw several episodes where she shared what it was like to leave, what she had to work through. And in that sense, it's really not that different from what Christine is doing with David. For Christine, David seems to be her sounding board, someone who listens, really listens. And since David has his own family ties to polygamy, he's had sisters who lived it, he probably gets it on a level most people wouldn't. That makes him feel safe to Christine, someone she can talk to without feeling judged. And yes, it's happening in public and people are watching. But even so, I sometimes wish Meri and Christine could just step back and see how much they actually have in common. They've walked the same path, felt many of the same emotions, endured the same heartbreak. But there's also real trauma there, and it runs deep. Christine has opened up about how painful it was to be the third wife, the one without the legal status. Her children weren't even recognized in the same way, and she said Meri treated her kids harshly. But then there's Meri's side. She was the only legal wife, the one who had to silently watch her husband bring more and more women and children into their lives, all while she was told to smile and accept it, without complaint. It's easy to see why both of them feel wounded. And maybe in another universe where they weren't competing for the same man, things could have turned out differently. Maybe they could have been friends. But too much damage has piled up, too many words said, too many moments caught on camera and replayed over and over. They each have their own way of coping, and honestly, I don't think either of them is wrong. I've had conversations with my own husband about past relationships. Not anymore, since we've been together for over 15 years, but I've been there. Talking through the past doesn't always mean you're comparing or longing. Sometimes it's just processing, looking at what was to understand what is. Maybe that's what Meri has found with her friends now. After a lifetime of being told her sister wives had to be her best friends, she's learning what it means to feel unconditional love from someone outside of all that. And maybe Christine is learning it too, just in her own way. Still, I can't help but wish they could just see past the years of hurt. But they're still living in it, still watching each other unpack the past in front of the world. And that kind of public reflection, it's not exactly a recipe for healing. And then, of course, came the part where Meri spoke about Robyn.
What about life with Robyn now? Is there a life with Robyn now or not so much?
No, not that much. No.
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit in the tell-all about how, there's just a little bit of distance. And I had said to her, I don't know how to be friends with my ex-husband's wife.
Meri opened up about something that clearly still hurts. She no longer sees Robyn's kids. And that's especially painful because she was close with Solomon. She called him her little buddy. But now, there's no real connection with Robyn anymore. And then Meri said something that really stopped the conversation cold. I don't know how to be not friends with my ex-husband's wife. She quickly shifted into talking about Kody, about how she once asked for a peaceful, respectful divorce, something clean, something kind. But that's not how things turned out. And here's how I understood what she meant. And maybe I'm wrong, but this is how I imagine it would feel. Imagine your ex is publicly trashing you over and over again, making you the villain in every story. And the woman who was once your closest confidant, his wife, is just silent. Or worse, she brushes it off with lines like, "That's between them, not me," or "Keep me out of it, I'm not getting involved." Eventually, that silence becomes its own betrayal. You start to realize that you can't speak freely with her anymore. You can't trust her. Anything you say to Robyn will likely be passed straight to Kody. That's how marriages work, right? And when your ex's new partner is enabling his behavior and repeating old manipulations, telling you things like, "He still cares about you, he wants to make things right, he loves you," it starts to feel like emotional gaslighting. It's a cycle. Robyn reassures, justifies, spins the narrative. If only you had done this differently, if only you had handled things better, it becomes your fault. It always circles back to the woman being the problem, because in that culture, no matter what happens, it's rarely the man who's blamed. He's seen as sincere, even when he's cruel. He's the one with the supposed good heart. And the woman who dares to walk away, she becomes the enemy. That's the role Meri's been cast in. The one under the bus, the one repeatedly run over by a man claiming she's unstable, unsafe, or even abusive, while his wife Robyn stands by silently. Who would want to stay close to someone who's part of that, who keeps fueling that narrative? And yet, I can also see how confusing it must be. Maybe Meri once had this idea, this hope that she and Robyn would truly be sisters, that they'd grow close, build something deep. But then you find out the way she spoke to you in public was not how she spoke about you in private. That's devastating. When Meri spoke to Tamron Hall, she mentioned that her relationship with Robyn had more tension than anyone else. And I can't help but wonder, why is it that Christine can see Robyn for exactly who she is and call her out, while Meri seems to hold back? Maybe Meri is just more reserved, more protective with her words. Or maybe, just maybe, her loyalty runs too deep, even when it hurts her. Because if Meri needs distance, if she needs to shut that door with Robyn to feel sane again, that's okay. In fact, that's healthy. Because Robyn, she's the kind of person who might just try to pull her back in, make her question everything again, twist it until Meri feels like it was all her fault. That's what Meri was getting at. You can watch her full video. I've linked it here on my channel. And now, I really want to hear from you. Do you think there's any hope that these women can ever find peace with each other? Or do you think too much damage has been done? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this video resonated with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up.